remember, if you guys have a comment or question, raise your hand. Shannon. There's some students that want to share what they wrote down. So when we're all quiet, I'll call on them to share. Brian?
I think I know what it is.
What?
It's like inventors.
Wait, what'd you say?
Inventors.
It's kind of like an inventor, but they start a business as well. But we're going to talk about it, so save your thoughts. So that's, you're on the right track, okay? Timothy? That's your first one. Ready? Helpful? That's a characteristic that they might be, yeah. One more person, Mackenzie.
Oh, I can say that.
Okay, what did you put down?
He said inventor, the invention. I said Albert Einstein. I said Albert Einstein.
All right, so you're along the right track, thinking along those lines. This is perfect. So, this is what we're going to accomplish today. It's kind of heavy-duty stuff, so you gotta really pay attention. Just to spoon off notes. Students, you guys will be able to evaluate how inventions help shape America's growth and identify risks associated with different inventions. So we're going to talk about one inventor in particular. Some of you guys may have heard about him before, but we're going to talk about Benjamin Franklin a little bit today. We're going to read through this book, answer some questions along the way, work with some group partners on some stuff, and then we're going to even talk about an invention that is similar to what Benjamin Franklin made today. Alright, so this is some vocabulary that you guys should already have. You guys got the handout on Monday, I believe, with these words on it. So we're just going to briefly talk about them so you guys kind of know where we're going with today's lesson. So first off, the actual definition for an entrepreneur is a leader in business who takes risks to grow the business quickly. So they start a business, and at first maybe it doesn't go as successfully as they thought. We're going to talk about Benjamin Franklin, some risks that he had as an entrepreneur. But they grow their business to be successful. Also, we're going to talk about mass production briefly. But mass production is when you are able to create more products quicker and more efficiently, which is kind of related to the Industrial Revolution. We'll talk about one entrepreneur that kind of created mass production. And then we'll also talk about a little bit about why entrepreneurs do what they do. It's for profit, money made once everything has been paid for. So once all the shipping costs have been paid for, the manufactured goods, all those good things, the individual is left with a certain amount of money, and that's what they take in. That's their income or profit. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the Industrial Revolution, which is a point in history where we started like factories and were able to produce more. So they had cars then, and then everyone started having cars, not just one person. And it was cheaper. Alright, quickly, were there any questions on the vocab? Any questions? Are you guys feeling okay on those? Sweet. Alright, so you guys are like, Miss Donna, what are entrepreneurs? Timothy. And remember, if you guys are going to call out, I'll just move your clip. Because I gave some people several warnings of something calling out. So if I hear someone call out, I'll just move your clip. Okay? Anywho, so these are some pictures of entrepreneurs that are in history or ones that are still living today that you might know. So this is a picture of, who knows? Jacob, who is this? Yes, this is Benjamin Franklin. I'm not going to talk about him in great detail because we're going to read a book about him, and that's what we'll spend more time on him. But that's the first one. I went too far, I think. Oh, no. Hey, does anyone know who this is? There's a movie about him that just came out. You guys are kind of movie buffs.
Ooh, I know.
Fernando? No. Nice try. It's okay. No. It looks a little spooky maybe, but no. Alright, Ryder, you want to try? No, it's not a horror movie or comic movie. Talk about that recess. Save it, Jen. Timothy?
Transylvania 2?
No, okay. I'll just guide you guys in the right direction. So, ready? Are you guys ready for it? Ooh, I'll wait till all those are off. Thank you, Jacob. Remember, I'm looking for both kids too. so you want to kind of be paying attention here. But this was actually Steve Jobs. So who has an Apple iPhone or an Apple product? Guess who started that business? This guy. So he's a really big entrepreneur.
Yeah. He did. He's the most famous person, isn't he?
There's Steve Jobs in it.
Except for the president.
All right, boys, stop Shannon. Okay, there's two more to show you guys. This one you probably will not know, because I mean he's popular once you hear the name, but looking at the picture you might not know who that is. But you can try. Want to try something? It's an old picture, so he's kind of older. That's okay. This one's a little bit tricky. Reed, want to try? No, he's the one with the crazy hair.
Yeah, he's the one with the long
All right, Shannon, last warning. Josh, want to try? No. Okay, so who knows who built the automobile, like the first car that everyone started first? Mass production. Who did that? Colton. I think you just said it. Yeah, Henry Ford. Henry Ford. All right, last picture. Raise your hand if you know who this is.
Oh my god, that hurts.
Remember, I'm looking for quiet students. I'm going to call on someone who has their voice off. She's more popular, so you might know who this one is. Well, nowadays, yeah. All right, Bella. Okay, that's okay. Simeon. Okay. Oprah, it is Oprah. Yep. All right, so. I'll tell you what they're for in 1 second. When all eyes are up here, please. So, like, why did you pick these random people? Well, they all have to do something with starting a business, and being entrepreneurs. So, Oprah Winfrey didn't necessarily create an invention that we use today, but she started the first she evolved talk shows. So, she left her home, and then she went to, I think it was New York City, and began to become a broadcaster, so she was on the news. And then she started realizing that she was really into that, and she wanted to help people with their problems, so she started the Oprah Winfrey Network. And she's really popular today, like a lot of you guys may have heard about her show, or maybe even seen it on TV. But she took a lot of risks. So she grew up in poverty, she was poor, but she decided that she wanted to change her life around. She kind of got into some bad stuff, but she knew that she had a higher purpose in life, and she wanted to do something about it. So she took the risk, left her home where she was from, went somewhere completely unfamiliar, and became this great person that is like a millionaire today. All right, so what about Henry Ford? What about Henry Ford? What are some risks you think he took to become where he was previously with the mass production? What risks do you think he had to take to get where he was? So
Maybe it's funny that most people wouldn't like watch the stations or like ride bikes or something because they didn't see an automobile in there.
So why do you think he created the automobile?
So they could have like faster, but then people might not get as much exercise because they just drive harder.
Yeah, there are risks for people. And when he first made it, or before he made mass production possible, the cars are really, really expensive. So not everyone owned a car. So like what Simeon's saying is they had to still kind of walk around to get places. They weren't as cheap as they were when he made them. And he's like, well, I want to change this. I want to make it so that more Americans can get places faster, quicker, more efficiently. So he started the assembly line and mass production where the cars are made quicker and at a cheaper price. So more people had cars. But as we talked about in science, remember this week, there's risks and benefits to things that are created, right? So like Simeon's saying, the risks are, well, you'll be polluting the air more because you'll be using more oil because everyone has a car now, right? And at that time when he made safe as they are today. So they didn't have seat belts. So if you got in an accident or something, it's more serious because it's not as safe as they are today. All right, what about Steve Jobs? What are some risks you think he had to take to start his franchise? The Apple products, okay? So he started the first Apple computer in his garage, and his parents' garage, actually. Yeah. So he started from the bottom, for sure. Bella?
Maybe he had to take, if he made maybe he had to take apart some things that he really used and tried making into new things.
Okay, so he had to work with maybe a little bit of money. He wasn't rich by any means when he started his business. So he kind of had to build maybe slower, maybe he had all these ideas, but had to pull from different areas to create the product. Okay, good. Mackenzie? All right, if you think of it, I'll call back to you, okay? Fernando, what do you think, bud?
What was that movie again?
I think it's literally just called Steve Jobs. And I don't know if it's in every theater. I think it might be a select theater or something. But I've seen some commercials for it. All right, that's a side note, though. Let's get back to the whole group. So Shannon. Colton. Yeah, so we kind of talked about the other day. Computers were made so that we could do things faster. It's a way of communication. There's a lot of reasons why we make computers. But are there any risks or something that you can think about that he may have experienced as an entrepreneur? Someone that starts a business. Yeah, so maybe the demand was high and he had to start making them really faster, quicker, so maybe he had to grow his business. That could have been something that he had to deal with. Yeah. Good job. Mackenzie?
Maybe it was the first Apple product that came out and the first person who tried it, it didn't work.
So maybe it would fail. Maybe he spent all his time creating it, but it didn't turn out the way people wanted. Or maybe it did turn out the way people wanted, but then they wanted more improvements, so he had to start working even harder at creating something better, right? And we kind of have seen the involvement, or it's not even the evolution, I guess, of the computer, right? Back in the day, they weren't like they are today, like the flat screens. They were huge. They were like big old things that you had to use. Yeah, like I don't even know because they were still pretty good when I was a kid, but like even before then, they looked so different. All right, so the main focus though today is Ben Franklin. So what we're going to do next is talk a little bit about why people start businesses. So they start businesses, of course, because they have this great idea and they want to share it with the world to make the world better. Okay, so improve what we already have. They want to maximize their profit. So of course, when people start businesses, they don't want it to be something that they don't earn money from, right? So they're going to do everything they can to make it successful. And then people start businesses to reduce the time and energy spent. So like Henry Ford produced the cars because he wanted transportation to be quicker, to get places faster. And then also to solve real world problems. We know that the computer has solved problems. Now we can Google things instantly. Like you can get instant results on questions that you have, right? So what you guys are going to do is you have these little pictures at your desk. And they have your name on them at the top. What happens is I have this cool app on my phone. These are called clickers. I kind of mentioned it yesterday, but some of you were not in the classroom, I don't think. Anyways, what happens is you have an A on your clicker, a B, a C, and a D. There's going to be questions. I'll read them to you.